What's going on, guys? Quasi for Quasi Media and Quasi Animations. Today we're going to talk about anime shader. We're going to try to make it a little bit more cartoony. The problem with trying to do something like that is that that's more of a detailed technique versus using nodes. It's possible with nodes, but the deal is now you're going to find yourself with a lot of nodes, and it's going to really drag down your CPU. No matter what type, if it's a hog, if it's just a really strong beast CPU, it's still gonna lag. Because the more nodes you put in there, the more time it's gonna take and more resources it's gonna use, okay? So with that said, we're gonna use some images. I have Yamcha in here from Xenoverse 2. I've already deleted all of the default image textures and stuff because it doesn't work automatically. I went in, made all of the ones that I needed, PNGs, but we still have to create the base colors. We're gonna start with the bust. Click the bust and hit the slash key or the question mark key, and it'll leave it by itself. All right, so we're gonna start with the bust, and I'm gonna go Control-A-S to search image. So we just want an image texture. I'm gonna click open. It automatically takes me to his folder, and I'm gonna go to the bust folder, and I'm gonna click the PNG. So I won't input the PNG straight into the color. Now it comes in black because there's an alpha on it, okay? Now, we're not gonna use the alpha here on the actual principal BSDF. We're not gonna do this on the BSDF shader, okay? On the principal shader. We're going to literally put in a mix shader. So type A, hit A, S for search, image, texture. I mean, not image texture, I'm sorry, S for search, mix shader. Okay, and click it straight into there, and then take the alpha and put it into the factor. And now what's going to happen is this, because this is where the tricky part comes in. Okay, turn the metallic off because we don't need it. And what you're going to do is you're going to hit N, go into your shader tab, and we don't want to do this. All right, we do not want to do that because we don't need to do that. So now what I want to do is I want to click Shift A in, and I'm going to put in a mix RGB. You're going to hover that over right here where it goes into the base color. All right, see what happened there? Now the bottom color is your main color. The top color is where the lines are. Okay, so put that back to 0.5. All right, so let's find our color. We'll just go right here. We'll just make it a rough, yeah, there we go. That's fine. Now, we made the shader the last time. Okay, so go through the process that you learned from the other video to make the shader. Okay, and we're gonna actually still use that shader. Now, I know a lot of people say, oh, that already looks fine. I'm like, yeah, I will agree to some extent, okay? But I want you to notice something. I'm gonna go, if you don't know what I'm doing, if you're in the shading tab, go over here where all of your render types are, click the down arrow, and it has a viewport shading, okay? And we're gonna use the last one on the end, and there's a reason for that, because it allows me to really see the whole entire thing in depth. This is not anime shaded right now, but because the lines are there, it fools you into believing that. You get that when I disconnect that, so I'll click it and put it back into color 1. All right, now we're gonna bring in our anime shader. Do not forget to save. Remember, there was a metallic shader on here. We want to take that off. What's the game? Xenoverse 2 comes in with metallic shaders on their characters. Now, if you want to use this, that's fine. But understand, when you use that, the character's not going to reflect like you would think they would. All right. I'm saying in the game it's fine because the game uses a world shader, meaning in other words, they light the entire environment and it actually shapes the character. Like a good example, this circle here is showing you in HDRI that it's literally lighting the scene. If I come over here and I literally go into my background here, this world right here tab, and it says background, there's a brightness level there, right? That is for your default, like when you go into this shading here. So if I raise it up and down, it takes me, that's what it shows me in my actual render view, okay? Now in the dev render view or material preview, I can go up here to this tab and there is a strength, take it up to 2, okay? Now you see the brightness here, there's a major difference. Now you start to see, now the metallic shader is different. You see how the metallic shader kind of dims it? Okay, now if you want to use it, you can. But again, if we're going for a cartoony look, wouldn't this be the style? So I'm going to bring this down just a tad bit. I'm going to drop my shader on there. All right, and there we go. Now, would that not fit the style that you would want of something being a little bit more cartoonish? So here we have I'll make this one a little darker, and this one's already at its full brightness. All right, so let's find our spacing. And what I'm doing is trying to find that space for the darkest parts to show up, basically. Okay, so yeah, all right. There we go. Just find that space where you had those darker parts coming in, if you want those darker parts. Okay, if you just wanted to have kind of a cartoonish look, then you don't really have to have those. All right, so the bust is done. Okay, so now, the last time I showed you to do control, where you select everything, you will go Control L. We're not going to do that this time because, again, we're using image textures for the lining of the character, and his face has its own. Okay, so again, we're going to take the metallic off. We're going to add a mix. I'm sorry. Yep, we're going to add a mix shader. Put it in there. We're going to go Shift A S image. And it's going to take us back to the image textures. We're going to go to face base, and then we're going to hit PNG. If you already have your PNGs, do your thug fizzle, do your thing. And I'm going to actually plug this in. Remember, you plug the alpha into the factor of the mix shader. You plug your color into the base, even though you can go ahead if you want to and just go ahead of time and just drop it into the actual, into the actual mix RGB. So we want to find that color, and the problem is now that the color is different, I have to make sure that I pick the same color I had the last time. There we go. Okay, so now when I go in and pick my anime shader, don't forget to get rid of that 2 by clicking it, and then we're going to drop it in there. All right, so now we have the same color for both parts, and that's pretty much the bust. Now the hand is the same way. Get rid of the metallic shader. I'm gonna go in, mix shader, Shift AS image, wrist, which is hand. I'm gonna push this time we're gonna go ahead and put the mix RGB in. I'm gonna drop it on the default color. We're gonna get the color from the body. I'll bring it over a little bit. See what we get. We bring it over a little bit. All right, darken it up some. That should work. Now, color into the color 1, alpha into the factor, and it's almost close to done. Now, we're gonna put in our anime shader. Don't forget to unclick the 1. And it's a reason for that because you may want to go back and change something and you don't want to create a problem for yourself. So there you go. Those colors are equal to each other and all of the shader parts are done. Okay. So again, if you want to check out how I did that 100%, go back to the beginning and I explain exactly how that's going to work. All right. So that is done. The same thing is going to be done for all the other parts. I'm not going to do his scar parts right now, but I'm going to do his clothing. So again, get rid of the metallic shader. We're going to go to mix shader, image. I did it again. Image, bust. Now there's 2 busts in his folder, so we're going to go to the second one. It has all the emblems and images on it. I'm just doing it this way because it's just going to be a little bit faster to me. Come on, man. Alrighty, and we know that Yamcha's gi is orange. Make it a little bit darker, and we go ahead and put our anime shader in. This time we're going to go in and change our anime shader. Click the eyedropper, pick the color you want. Always remember the bottom one needs to be brighter than the top one. And we're going to drop that beautiful bean footage. All right, and go in and finesse those colors. because again, we are looking at trying to make it as cartoony as possible. And remember, in anime, a lot of times the undertone colors are just a little bit darker and the other stuff is really, really bright. So there you go. And that will really fit the criteria for what you see in the actual Dragon Ball series right there, hands down. All right, so let's click the circle. The mark actually has the same thing. Again, remember, we're putting in a lot of pieces here. So they're individually done. Get rid of the metallic shader. I'll put in another image texture. This time we still have to go to bust because this image is here. See it? All right, so click that. I'm gonna go ahead and put in my mix RGB. The reason why I'll collect this to the base first is because I can just drop it in there and it just makes it so much easier to me. All right, so that's done. I don't really have to do anything with it. I'm just gonna brighten it up to complete white and that's over with. I'm not even gonna put the anime shader on it because it's not necessary. All right, why? Because it's a default color and it pretty much follows suit. See how that looks? Looks pretty good. Now, bottom part, again, get rid of the metallic shader. Mix shader, drop it in. Mix RGB, image. Pants, PNG, click it. We're gonna go ahead and click our orange, find a dark space so it kind of mimic what we already have. Bring it up a little bit. Gonna put our factor into there. And then, alpha into the factor. And I'll animate shader because guess what? We need that. Matter of fact, let me go get this one. Watch this. Hit Shift D, not Shift D, I'm sorry, my bad. I messed it up. Hit Control C, copy. And then we're gonna go back down here and we're gonna paste it because we're gonna use the same one on this one. And they are literally the same color, okay? So here, I realized something like this one needs to come down a little bit more. There we go. There we go. Finesse it a little bit and now they're equal in color. All right, this is blue. So get rid of the metallic shader. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna go all the way through the process and we're gonna complete the character. This should also be part of the pants. There we go. And you see how it just automatically just started working. And the reason why I'm using the anime shader is because the shader has all of the default colors already on it. I'm saying, when I say that, I mean like it's the brightness I need for it is there already. Again, when you use stuff like blue, go into a lighter blue so that it'll work accordingly and you don't have too many issues with it, right? So like I can still go in and finesse this a little bit because again, we want our blue to be a little bit brighter. Because again, we're trying to do this cartoonish like. There we go. All right. And that would be it right there, sir. Alrighty then. Come out of there. Don't forget to save. And that's pretty much the run of it right there. I don't want to go too much longer, man. But this is pretty much how you would get those characters out of there. I'm going to, in the description, the tool that you would use to get the lining right for the characters so it doesn't have all the marks on them is going to be in the description of the video. So go download that. It's free. It's called paint.net. Download it. It's free. When you open up the DDS file, hit save. Okay, I'm not going to do a tutorial about it, so you listen carefully. Hit the save button and it's going to save. Just hit save and it's going to save the DDS again, but it's going to clear out all of those lines and all of the darkness around it. Then you go in and open that DDS back up again and save as a PNG, and then you'll have this image. So you'll have this right here. So like when I click him and I hit tab, you see how that image is just clear by itself. There's nothing extra there. That's what you want. You don't want any of those extra lines and the scars on it because this is what's already on his bust, as you can tell. And that's what you're looking for. All right. So that's what you can get when you want to, you know, import Xenoverse 2 models and whatnot. And the models come in reverse for some reason. Like this image is over here usually, but I don't know how to fix that. I not gonna lie to you, I haven't even tried to. But the process that I just showed you will fit for each thing. Okay, so you can't just go in and just put in this and then go and click this and then hit Control L, because it's not gonna work, because these two things don't have the same image texture. All right. So with that being said, I know you might say, well, what about the hair? Just for GP, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna play with the hair. All right. Let me do this real fast. I'm gonna speed through it. Go ahead, throw this on the alpha. Throw this there. Throw this there. We'll still have to go black with it. You see, there's two parts to the hair. Now, understand, there's no image in there, right? Okay, so here there was no hair DET, right? None whatsoever, huh? See that, right? Not even under the bust is there any hair. Even under face default, there's just the things just and only for his, I'm sorry, what is it? His eyebrows, okay? Even the eye thing, there's a whole eye thing for it. So what you have to do here is basically, you could just disconnect this, right? Disconnect this, come over here and just go black. And then put in your anime shader. Make sure to turn off the usage. We're gonna do the same thing here. Make it black. Not too black, because if you go too dark, then it's not gonna work well. All right, drop it on there. Open this up. And those colors should, and again, we want, because we're looking for brightness, so we're looking for that cartoony style. So now we're almost there, almost there. That's still a little bit too much. Okay, here we go. I'm thinking bring this down some more. Yeah, there we go. So now in this case, this time we can actually go ahead and shift click Control L materials, because these are literally the same pieces. And there you have it, Yamcha of Dragon Ball. Voila. Next video is going to be about how to do simple animations and making those animations smooth. So be looking out for that, man. None but love. See you later.